across Africa, especially the francophone, African countries, and a lot of coups have been happening, and we are asking, is it the way to deal with our leadership and economic problem as a continent?
Wait, just before I just heard that one. I think what's the name of the president that went to mess up in the
Paul
States?
Biya.
He has reshuffled his
Yes,
his military, his military command. Oh my God! Like they know.
Yeah.
See, I think it's a wave.
Okay.
It's a wave that unfortunately is happening again. It shouldn't be happening. Like, come on. I think where the world is going globally, I personally have been of the view that Africa got democracy quite too early. We're immature for it. Because the systems were not put in place properly. Sometimes I say maybe South Africa did a bit better, the together, the whites and the blacks trying to build. But someone will tell you that, hey, the South Africa went through, what's the name of what they went through? Apartheid, so many people died, so maybe it's not the right thing. But still, Africa, I don't know, is it abuse of power? Is it the mentality? There's something wrong. There's something fundamentally wrong.
So for me, I'm asking, is this the reset we need as a continent?
Please, me, I don't need any coup in Ghana, because I keep saying that I don't think it's the way to go.
Okay.
What will they do different if they are not the right people trained to be leaders? That's our problem. We don't have leaders who are who are trained, who are going to put things in place no matter what. Because the military is coming, and they are coming because people are spending money. So the monies they are seizing in those homes, where is it going to go? How are you going to distribute that money? Do you get it?
Yeah.
That's what people are not seeing. So, like, yes, you are happy that there is a coup, a reset. But is that the reset we need? Because that reset can actually send us 20, 30 years backwards in terms of development. Because they'll freeze accounts, things will not be progressing, businesses will close. USA today, they'll come for their people. None of them will stay in this country. They are businessmen, their businesses will go. What will happen? So me personally, I don't see the positive of the coup, but it's an awakening call for all the other leaders. I really think that's why ECOWAS is like shaking, because they know that yes, it's not the best way to go. People sometimes lose their lives and all these things, but it's getting too close to home. And people are agitated about familiar stuff in their countries as well. So if they do not rise and show as like maybe a force to say, if you do this, this is what will happen to you, then more people might follow. That is what I personally think. And it's too close. The reasons why these people are doing the coup is too close to home. So it frightens me. Like I keep saying, I don't see the positive of it, but it's a reset. I don't think that is a reset we need.
Mr. Quiz, so in hard times, it can actually bring out the worst in people. And do you think this is what is happening, where people are angry because they are hungry?
Are you happy because you are hungry?
No, I can't be happy. I can't be happy.
Oh my God.
Look. Africa's problem, and she touched on some of it, that the transition from colonialism to self-government was not perhaps done properly, or we're not prepared for it. Like, conversation should have gone on that. Where is Africa during colonialism? Where do we want to get it to? Today we are still talking about artificial borders, and that these borders were given to us by Westerners. We didn't divide ourselves, and it's affecting economies, it's affecting trade, it's affecting cohesion, and all kinds of things. Granted, but we are having this conversation 50, 60 years too late.
Exactly.
These conversations should have been had before colonialism ended.
But to
and
be
when
fair,
self-government
colonialism
when self-government, we took on self-government.
Didn't end at the same
It
time.
didn't, yes, I know, but in a decade, almost all of us were liberated. So in that decade, before that happened, that's when the deep-seated problems of Africa, the difficulties we would face today should have been envisioned, and then we set the continent on the right track. What then happened was power was taken from colonialists and given to greedy locals. And you see, that also happened, that's repeated itself even in the history of Ghana, where we moved from military rule to civilian democracy, which we were very hopeful was going to develop the country and take it from the doldrums that it was in at the particular time. So you let me summarize everything for you. History shows that the West African sub-region has always yearned for a leadership or government reset. So I'll bring it to our local context. So most of our leaders that we've read about, barring the traditional leaders and all of that, were born into colonialism. So the government they knew was colonialism. Colonialism had its challenges, and after almost a century and a half of colonialism, the locals or Ghanaian spirit rallied around to change it. And you see, we are those kind of people who are very slow to a decision-making point, but once we get there, we become a force, which is why we were about one of the earliest countries to get independence.
Fact.
So Nkrumah took over, things were looking good. He had some sort of a vision. Some people will argue that it was too ambitious because he wanted to unite the whole of Africa using Ghanaian resources and all of that. And basically that plunged Ghana into some form of difficulty. Some of his projects were also seen at the time as too ambitious. But today we know that he was just thinking about the future at the time. However, there was some discontent 6 years into his rule or his government, and then we needed a reset. That was the first time something like a coup, the military taking over, was known in the sub-region. Some would say there were foreign influences from the CIA and all of that. But that was the first reset. Then we had series of coups. For that, I won't say it's any form of a reset. It was just a group of people who felt that getting their hands on resources, national resources, was going to be a good thing for them. Until Rawlings came around and realized that he needed to save this country from the extreme poverty that we're going through at that time. Then he handed the power back to civilians, and then what's the name? He took it again for the longer haul until it went back to democracy. Again, before Rawlings handed power, set the country back to democracy, that was also a reset point. Because at the time, the trajectory of every dictator around West Africa was that they got the chance to rule for a long time and they were overthrown in barbaric coups in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, there was military mutiny. So Rawlings if he had stayed on and not giving any room for democracy, that's where eventually he would have been headed, because no government, either from foreign influences like in Libya, Gaddafi, or just internal military, whatever. So he was wise enough, and then we got back to democracy. That's where hope came. So we're like, okay, let's try this. We had all our parameters: social development, economic development. Things were going to be good. Human rights, respect for rule of law. All the things that you are seeing today, you are complaining about. Nepotism will be a thing of the past, because we are going to allow institutions work. So Ghana we're so happy, and then Kufuor took over. It's been 30 good years, 3 decades of that sort of governance, and we are we are literally unsatisfied and displeased and very, very bitter of the kind of governance we have. Now the question is, will there be a reset or not? And if that reset should be a military reset or not? My answer is simple. As she has said, nothing good has come out of military interventions, either from the one that deposed in Kuma and set this country back down spiraling. Because when you check the economic figures in the Nkrumah era, and you check when Rawlings now took over and decided in the 83 to do a structural economic readjustment, that's basically carrying the whole country and saying that, look, we have lost the path for our economic path. So let's restructure the economy and readjust. So from Nkrumah's access to when Rawlings had to do that, what is in the middle is military coups. Simple as that. What is in the middle of that two axes is military coups. So if we are saying the reset to be a military coup, there's no guarantee that this country will be better than what we see it today. Nonetheless, I think we need a reset. I think the reset should come from us, the people, realizing the power we have in this system called democracy, so that when we are electing parliament, in fact, all the organs of government, it's only the judiciary that's appointed because of checks. The president or the executive and then parliament come together to, to elect the judiciary. However, every other arm is basically in the hands of the people. So we have to exercise that power. That is the revolution or the reset we should be doing.
Yeah, I agree to disagree.
You
I disagree because yes, we the people have the chance to elect, but so far we have elected people and they've not worked. I don't see the difference that our next election will do. Because unless someone comes like what's his name, Kenyatta.
Who? Kagame.
That can come in.
Kagame is not full democracy. He didn't come through full democracy. His context was way different. He's a former military general.
I personally think the political system we have in Ghana is the problem.
Yeah.
Because I would elect the next governance, and they are thinking about the party. When they say that in the ruling party, it bothers me because I didn't vote a ruling party. I voted Akufo-Addo as a president to work with what's his name, the Ablakwa, to work with Bambin, to work with any other person to make the country grow. I didn't vote in NPP. So that when you come into power, your actions and inactions show that you are doing things to protect your party to the detriment of me. So unless an independent candidate can come in and sit...
But you see, that's where it goes back to the people. Yes, that's the ignorance of the people that must change. There are so many examples. I don't know if this one is a good one, but even Benin voted for an underdog. And something good came out of it. When Yayi Boni, for example, he was almost independent or the smallest party, and they voted for him. So
like the Peter Obi thing in the Nigerian case,
exactly,
but it didn't work out.
But that was a big progress from how they used to vote before. Yeah. So the point is, see the power and use it well. Use it in choosing. Look, in Ghana, choosing the president, electing the president is the single most successful thing you can do. Choosing the right person, because 90% of the power is in the hands of the president. That's one person.
Too much power.
You see, you were talking about Kagame. Kagame literally is a military man who has tried to democratize his government, allow for elections and all of that. But he's gotten the elements that a good African leader should get, which is longevity, strongness, or being a strong man, and being passionate and having a vision. The problem is that We had that in Rawlings, but he was not too savvy in terms of how to run a country and push it from where it's supposed to be to the next level. That's where we missed it. But you still have a semblance of that with the powers that the Constitution has given to the president. Unfortunately, when we are going to choose that president, we choose on ethnic lines, we choose on political lines, we choose on
promises,
on nepotism, we choose on so many grounds, so much that power then is diffused. Right. You get my point. So that's why I'm saying that the revolution should be a people's revolution.
I think the revolution that will make it work, because imagine today I decide to vote for. See, all the time that Indum had tried to be president, anybody who kept voting for Indum never got the president he or she wanted.
But they voted with their conscience and their belief.
So if all of us, yes, that is it. So we have to get to a point.
If everybody's thinking like you,
so then maybe we have to make an announcement. Please, we are going to vote on that. I think I agreed. I think the last election there was I think Ben Avle's show. They were talking about let there be a none of the above. None of the above on them.
Means that nobody will be present. Because right now, well, so I think there's a quota for voter turnout. There's a quota that we have to meet for voter turnout to be for the elections to be legitimate. But it's so minimal.
It's minimal.
50% plus one. It's enough.
It's enough to know.
So whether you abstain or not, it really doesn't affect.
And personally, I think most of us get disheartened by what happens. That the last time I voted was 3 elections ago. Right. Do you get it? And the problem with that is people will decide who the president will be for me. Yeah. And I will face the consequences whether I like it or not.
See, you are overthinking it. When you listen to the policies, as a good citizen, listen to the policies of the individuals, look at their track records, look at their backgrounds and their qualifications. Yeah, and when you enter the booth, it doesn't matter if the person is an independent or not. Your contract with all of us, your contract to all of us is when I go into that booth, I'm going to vote for the person I think can do the job.
Yes, but
it should be that simple.
Yes, but
when you go into the booth and you're thinking, oh, these people, they won't even give this guy any vote. Yeah. So let me choose between the lesser evil and the...
No, but that's what happened, because if I vote for that person that I think would, he will not win.
How do you know? He might be thinking the same thing. I think so just get into the booth.
That's what I'm saying. So we need
into the booth. Get into the booth. The person you believe, that's your job. That's the power given to you as a citizen. Your conviction. Just go and vote based on your conviction for the person who is good for this country. You've done your part. It's as simple as that.
So before we wrap up, I just want to ask, what do you think would be some of the lasting solutions? Is it a constitutional review?
Yeah. We need that.
And then
badly.
Finally, where does that leave the youth in all of this?
So, taking the constitutional part, look, I keep saying that a president who tried to do the right things for this country was Sata Mills, because during his short tenure, he was able to set the constitutional review process in motion and almost got it to the end. Unfortunately, the people who took over after him, including his own party, didn't quite see the need to prioritize the completion of it. The reason why that was necessary is to reduce some of the powers of the president, so that the vehicle that brings him to power, which is basically his party, does not become a hindrance to him taking the right decisions. Because if the powers are reduced and put in institutions which are not directly influenced by the political structure, then this country is starting to have to mature to say that irrespective of personality or the individual who has power, we are going to champion the interest of the majority. And so that's why the constitutional review is important. A little background to that was, we talked about Rawlings switching from military to democracy. The constitution was done in a way that the transition would be easier for him.
Not too sharp.
So that it won't be too sharp. Powers will not all of a sudden be taken from him and given to institutions that he might not trust and all of that. So basically that is necessary. The second one is a development plan that is sacrosanct or is bigger than party policies.
Right.
Or individual ideology. That's basically the main document for our development for the next 40
Wait,
years.
I think growing up there was this development policy. What was that? Was it 2020?
Vision 2020.
Can you imagine?
That was Rollins.
That was in 1990, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So imagine if they had followed that plan in the last 2 years, would have been reaping its benefits.
Yeah.
So me personally, I think our leaders so far have all failed us. They've been terrible. They've been selfish. They've been I don't know, disappointing. Like, because we go to the polls every 4 years with excitement that something different is happening, and Charlie,
it won't happen.
yeah, like from the trajectory we are on.
I saw this vehicle on the internet which has wheels that can turn. So wheels are supposed to but they can turn like that.
Yeah.
And then so if your wheels are turn like that, you accelerate. How will you go?
You go round. That's what it is.
Our wheels are not facing forward. They are basically like this. So no matter the energy you pour into it, it's not going anywhere. There
We
has to be
need
some drastic fundamentals.
So who is giving that drastic? Because we the youth, it's my vote. Yeah, but who is going?
And select the right person. Like we tried when we selected Atta Mills, yeah, and he was trying to do that. Unfortunately, God just has a funny of playing some jokes on us. I don't know, but basically he didn't have enough time to
And it's really
go
sad.
and make. And it's all it will take is for this country to elect the right person one time.
Right.
That's no, the second time, and the person stays longer.
So you heard my co-host that what it will take is for us to elect that right person. So be the change you want to see. We hope you enjoyed this segment of Sauce and Pepper. Till next week, we are out.